So what these guys, so these gates open and they let in sodium ions. And they're specific. Only sodium ions will come in. Okay? So what's that going to do to the, say the cell's at negative 70.
It's going to make it more positive because
go up, right?
Sodium's positive.
So say here's our graph. Here's negative 70. Here's our threshold. So the line is going to go where? Which direction?
It's going to go up.
It's going to go up a little bit, right?
Yeah, because it's becoming less negative.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So if it's stimulated enough from this nerve, it can reach threshold, right? And that's hopefully what happens if you're trying to send a signal. So a lot of times, I mean, it'll kind of go like this. It'll just be stimulated but not enough because these are always kind of being released. But when we really need to do something, your brain, you really need to move or whatever, it will reach threshold. So do you remember anything about threshold, what it is?
Well, isn't it like negative 55 or something? Is that?
Could be.
Okay. I'm remembering that there's like, you can just different points, I guess you can almost reach threshold and that's called something, and then you can like reach way above it or, but it just seems like once you pass threshold, that's when you're depolarizing because it's becoming more positive, and then it switches at some point and it goes back to hyperpolarization. No, repolarization, then hyperpolarization, right?
And then, so we're down here. Where then we'll have.
We're back. We want to be back at negative 70.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. Okay, so it seems like you kind of understand the graph and how it flows. So let's break it down a little bit. What happens at each point? So we know right here what gates are working.
Yes.
Which ones? What are
The
these called?
sodium ones, they're letting in the sodium. And if I remember right, potassium wants to go out. So it goes out through different gates.
It wants to go out,
But it's opening slowly because it
Yeah.
doesn't quite, I don't remember why it opens slowly, but it takes it a while because it doesn't open until we start repolarizing.
Exactly. Yeah, so what opens, or what gates start to open right when it hits threshold?
The potassium gates. is
Those
that-
ones start to open?
Yeah.
So it's kind of potassium. The door's starting to open. What else opens right there?
Is it calcium as well?
Okay, calcium gate, sure. As opens. Which way is calcium going to go, in or out?
I think it goes in because potassium and proteins are really the only thing in the
Hanging
cell.
out there. And then what else is going to come in?
Chlorine? I don't remember.
No, not chlorine. More of sodium.
More, okay.
Yeah. He's kind of the main one. Lots of sodium gates open up. And they all start to flood in. And that's what causes the steep peak.
Okay.
It's because we have sodium and calcium coming in. Okay. All of these three, the calcium, potassium, and the sodium, all start to open at the same time at threshold.
Okay.
But like you said, this one's slower, so it takes him a little bit longer to get there. But once he's there, then he'll fully open, and now all this potassium will come out. And that causes it to go down again, right?
And the potassium wants to go out because it's kind of to diffuse, because it becomes really concentrated inside. Is that why?
Yep.
So it sees that there's not a lot out there, so
It wants to leave. What causes an accumulation of potassium inside the cell? Certain pump.
Oh, the ATP pump? Is that, what's it called?
It uses ATP.
It's the, well, because it exchanges like 2 for 3 or something.
Yeah,
I can't remember, what is it?
Something's going out, something's going in.
Yeah, it's the, I mean, I can look at my notes, but I'm trying to remember off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
just
like-
see if you can, I'll write it, but.
Okay.
Well, what do you think would be, if we're talking about the accumulation of potassium, so what's probably being pumped in?
Potassium.
Yeah.
So it's a potassium.
And then what's
with
being pumped out, do you think?
Yeah.
Sodium, so it's a sodium potassium pump.
Sodium potassium pump.
Alright, usually get these mixed up, but I'm pretty sure it's 3 sodium out, 2 potassium.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a buildup of potassium in here, and that's why it wants to get out. And this is also why there's no sodium in here, and why the sodium wants to come in, because of that pump. Okay.
So like an example of this in the body, like, you know, say you touch the stove and you like, so all this happens, like an action potential is like really fast, right?
Yep. Yeah, it travels, I think they said like 350 miles per hour or something.
Yeah.
How do you measure that?
I
have
don't
no idea.
know.
You guys are
I
just
don't
making
know.
that up. You guys are
Too much time on your
I don't
hands.
believe. Yeah, so when we touch something, this is happening. It's a little bit different because this is more of like an efferent pathway I'm talking about, like it's coming from the brain down. But a signal can go from your finger to your brain, right? 'Cause that's
Yeah.
how you detect it. And how that happens is instead of a nerve's, what happens is you have a sensory neuron in the end of your finger, and it has a mechanical gate, is what they call it. So here, chemicals allow sodium to come in, but here it's actual pressure. You push on it, and that causes the opening of gates that lets sodium come in, which then lets an action potential travel.
So that, the mechanical, okay, so that's a little bit different from like a chemical
Yeah.
reaction. Okay, so what, so this is going on all the time, like the sodium, potassium gate, you know,
Always.
just like all the time, and that's just normal, like kind of like your heart beating, you just,
Yeah.
your body just does that.
Just
but,
doing it.
But an action potential, like, can fire off successively, like one after the other.
Yeah, really quick.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand like when this happens, because that's what will help me remember.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, good questions. It's just always happening. I mean, moving your arm, it's happening. You know, you're digesting things, your heart's beating.
Yeah.
You're blinking. This is always happening.
Yeah.